Now recognizing the Minister of Forests.
Thanks very much, Mr. Speaker. Thanks to my colleague across the way for his speech. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The irony, I just want to start off with, Member's a good guy. I've enjoyed the time that we've had an opportunity to be able to engage outside of this House. I know that in speaking to the Mayor, he's certainly learning lots as a new MLA and doing his best in this place and in his community to stand up for his community, and I appreciate that and the conversations we have. But there is a lot of irony with what he said. He is part of a party, and maybe by providing these remarks on Bill 15, after responding, after hearing the member across the way, Mr. Speaker, he may choose to consider leaving the Conservative Party, and in particular the record of the Leader of the Opposition, because he's now painted with the same brush as the Leader of the Opposition, with a party that, campaigned on ripping up UNDRIP. And he spent his speech talking about the importance of reconciliation and engaging with Indigenous peoples. The irony of talking about fighting climate change and in particular environmental standards when he ran to be a part of a party with a leader and now reports up to a leader who doesn't believe in climate change, or at least sometimes changes his tune and says, yeah, climate change exists, but it's not an existential threat. So I appreciated his comments, but a lot of irony there. But that's okay. That's why we get a chance to be able to stand up in this House and say what's on our mind on behalf of our constituents, and it's a real privilege for me, Mr. Speaker, to be able to stand in this House and speak on behalf of the hardworking people of Langford Highlands who I believe overwhelmingly support Bill 15 and the work that we are doing on this side of the House. The Government House Leader and I were chatting about the similarities between our two ridings, being suburban communities. So he and I often share a lot of the same feelings. I guess the people of Langford and Poco are similar. Hardworking people, blue-collar workers that in many cases are building the infrastructure that we're talking about. And so real privilege for me to be able to stand in this House and talk about my support for Bill 15, the Infrastructures Project Act. I want to thank the Minister for her leadership in not only taking on this complex file, but assembling a new ministry at the same time of bringing forward this legislation. And I'll talk a bit about what this legislation means to the people of Langford Highlands, in particular, my connection to infrastructure. I want to take us back, Mr. Speaker, a number of years. In 2011, I was a high school student at Belmont Secondary School. My high school, Mr. Speaker, in downtown Langford, where now there's a strip mall and a Thrifties. A lot has happened on that site. My high school was falling apart. It was crowded, 2,000 students for a school that was probably built for 1,000. When the floors ripped up, instead of fixing them, they would literally go and put duct tape on the floor. Asbestos warnings everywhere. You couldn't use the water fountains because they literally had a big sign that said asbestos warnings. And my connection to politics started with my predecessor, John Horgan, but my real connection to community politics and grassroots politics actually started in high school. I don't know if I ever told this story in my maiden speech, but I went to that school. We were doing a project on persuasive writing, and I decided my persuasive essay would be writing a letter to the Minister of Education, convincing them to replace that aging, decrepit high school with 2 new high schools. Little did I know that a petition, a school-wide walkout would somehow land me in this place. But that connection to me and my school was critical because schools in so many ways are really the center points of communities. And so why I mention this in particular in relation to Bill 15 and the Infrastructure Project Act, this is about building community. This is about building the infrastructure British Columbians deserve and rely on each and every day. My community, like so many communities across British Columbia, faced many challenges in the mid to late 2000s. In 2011, the Minister of Education at the time, George Abbott, many in the House will know, someone who I have the honour of working with in his role as a treaty commissioner and as someone who's helping support me in my review of BC timber sales, was a minister. I remember coming up in this House, sitting somewhere up there, being introduced by John and seeing the presentation of my petition. It was hard to get money out of the BC Liberals for infrastructure projects. They cut. I remember when I became a school trustee, the first budget that I had, we were cutting $4 million from our operating budget, and we were getting zero in capital budgets at that time, which was very difficult for my school district because we were growing rapidly. We have been, the Sixth School District has been, and I believe, don't quote me on this because it's been a couple of years since I left the school district, we have been the fastest growing school district per capita in the province. I don't know if any of my friends from Surrey are in the ledge, but the Surrey School District often is lauded as the fastest growing school district, but per capita, Sault beats them by a lot. And so when we were taking dollars away from the classroom to fund portables, which made it very challenging for me as a relatively new school trustee to be a part of those decisions. It was very stressful times. Things changed in 2017 when a new government came, a new horizon came. But you know, my experiences with infrastructure really connect back to that grassroots level in schools. I experienced a government that cut, a government that wanted to close schools. In fact, my elementary school was closed by Christy Clark and the BC Liberal government. Actually led me to my family to move to Langford. And I experienced something different in 2017 when you had a premier, John Horgan, and now led by our current premier, who have been bringing in substantive investments in our province. And this is important to talk about because these investments mean an awful lot to communities. And I've been to many communities. The member opposite talks about ministers not visiting rural communities. A number of my colleagues have visited communities represented by the members across the way. I've spent more time in their communities than I've spent in my own community these last few months because I know how important it is for me as a new minister to put the work in on the ground, boots on the ground, meeting with local mayors and council, meeting with First Nations leaders, meeting with workers, meeting with community leaders, putting that work in to ensure that I can understand the concerns, I can listen and learn, so I can come back here to this beautiful legislature, to Victoria, and start taking action on the issues that matter to people. I enjoyed spending time in Kimberley. I got a chance to participate in a prescribed fire. Who would have thought that a kid from Langford would be given a drip torch and get a chance to be able to see the hardworking men and women of the BC Wildfire Service, the incredible work that the chief of the Kimberley Fire Department is doing. But I also got a chance to be able to meet with the mayor, and I meet with many mayors and talk about infrastructure. And I've been to communities where mayors have been represented by Liberals, Uniteds, Conservatives. It's been some time since a new Democrat's been elected from those communities that have said, you know, even though we don't have an NDP MLA, man, have you guys delivered for us? Just have to look at the mayor of Terrace and the new hospital that's going in. Just have to talk about the investments that we've made in so many communities. Williams Lake is an example. So many communities where we have delivered, and it doesn't matter if we don't represent those communities because all British Columbians, every aspect of this land base matters to us. Since we formed government in 2017, we have delivered record numbers of new infrastructure projects to really strengthen the core of British Columbia, to help build British Columbia. We have started or completed work on more than 30 hospital projects, Mr. Speaker. 80,000 student seats built or underway in my school district. That means the largest expansion of public education in the school district's history. That's 2 new high schools, that's a new middle school, Centre Mountain Laleham, that's several elementary schools, that's land purchases, that's building for the future. I went from representing a school district that had one of the highest thresholds of portables to classroom seats to actual buildings being built. We are actually building Shianu-Seletka, a brand new 500-seat elementary school right now, built with BC mass timber that is set to open this September. The Infrastructure Projects Act helps projects like that get ahead. It helps projects like that proceed in a more efficient way. And I'm going to touch on more of that. 10,700 student housing beds underway across the province in major urban centers, but also rural communities as well. Those are important beds for students who are going to be helping to build our province, going to be helping to ensure that we are providing them the opportunity to be leaders in our province. 92,000 homes, 2,500 transportation projects, millions spent to build new playgrounds. I could go on and on and on about the infrastructure projects that I've seen in my travels as Minister of Forests, but also I've seen in my constituency of Langford Highlands, where again, the largest expansion of public education in the Sault School District's history, the largest expansion of public transportation that we've seen in the West Shore's history, a rapid bus, significant upgrades all across this constituency. Think of the work that my predecessor did on the road out to Sault, nearly $100 million project there. Countless examples. I think of the new West Shore Post-Secondary Campus that's going to have a new name soon, that is the first of its kind. It's going to have spots for over 1,000 students in downtown Langford, Royal Roads, UVic, Camosun College, the Justice Institute, and the Sault School District. 5 institutions in one building, first of its kind in Canada. Those are the types of infrastructure projects that we want to streamline. We want to get built faster. It's nothing that frustrates people more. Excuse me. Apologies, Mr. Speaker. Nothing that frustrates people more than seeing governments stand at podiums, make announcements, and then don't see shovels in the ground. This legislation gets shovels in the grounds and projects right across British Columbia. It's so important. We can talk about what the member talked about, or the member from Kamloops Centre went on for almost 2 hours on, and that was concerns with Indigenous consultations, concerns with the environment. I'm sorry, I can't take them seriously on those issues. I can't take the Conservative Party of BC seriously on those issues. It's this government, it's the people on this side of the House that brought in the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act. You actually had the member across the way prior to me, I think, essentially say that if LNG was included in here, if pipeline projects were included in here, maybe we'll support it. I'm not sure. But this is about public infrastructure. This is about getting major projects approved. And we have to ask ourselves, why is this so important now? We've been making a lot of efforts in getting infrastructure projects approved all across the province. But what's changed? In January, Donald Trump got elected President of the United States. And when he became, well, the member across the way can laugh, but that's true. Donald Trump became President of the United States. And on day one, he threatened our sovereignty. He said that he wanted to make Canada the 51st state. We have to get building. We need people in our communities right across British Columbia, not just in Langford Highlands, but in Columbia River Revelstoke, in Richmond, in Langley, in Chilliwack, Poco, you name it. We need them building. We need construction workers working. I was with the building trades last week. They support this legislation. In fact, they've written a letter to the minister of, or rather to the leader of the opposition, encouraging him and his colleagues to support this legislation. This is the important work that we have to do, and it's important work that we're doing on this side of the House. Donald Trump is spending time saying a lot of stuff in the media, a lot of stuff. I don't know where he is today, but every so often he will continue to insult Canada. He will continue to refer to us as a 51st state. I'm sure glad that he's not showing the same level of disrespect he showed Prime Minister Trudeau that he showed to Prime Minister Trudeau that he didn't show to Prime Minister Carney. That's progress. But he insulted our country. And we have to take advantage of the opportunity we have to build in a more efficient way, to build faster. And that means all of us working together. We've got projects in all of our communities. When we get elected here, we get elected with a color, but we all have the same things. We all want schools. We all want hospitals. We all want public transportation infrastructure. I give the Minister of Transportation a hard time all the time about the need for more transportation infrastructure, but we all do that because we all live in our communities and we all want to see the best for our communities. So why not approve, why not pass legislation like Bill 15, the Infrastructure Projects Act, that does that very thing, that is, takes projects from concept on paper and gets them across the finish line. That's exactly what we're trying to do with this legislation. It's about streamlining. It's about being more efficient. You know, I've had the opportunity in my time as the chair of the Sault School District to manage, as part of a team, to be on the governance side, managing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of capital projects. I learned a lot through that process, and it's really helped set me up for success in other projects that I'm going to have in my life. And there are incredible school district partners, there's incredible local government partners, you name it, that are doing this work every single day, helping to build British Columbia. I think of the work that's going on just north of me at the Cowichan Hospital. My colleague, the MLA for Cowichan Valley, and her constituents are going to get a benefit from it. And I think the region is going to get a chance to benefit from not just the jobs of building that hospital, but also the services that are going to come. We have an infrastructure deficit here in British Columbia, Mr. Speaker. And that is because when those guys sat on this side of the House, they didn't build British Columbia. They cut every single day. They cut. And so here is an opportunity for us to build. Here is an opportunity for us to put people to work, to provide good paying jobs to people in every corner of our province. And we are going to take every opportunity to do that through this legislation. That's why it is such an important piece of legislation that the Premier took the leadership to speak to it as well. He acknowledged the work that has happened all across British Columbia over decades of building infrastructure. Building infrastructure that matters to people. Schools, hospitals, wind projects, you name it. Those are projects that matter to people because it puts people to work and it gets them what they need. It gets them the opportunity to ensure that their kids are going to quality education facilities, world-class facilities. It ensures that they are going to hospitals that are not falling apart, but are brand new. They're not going to hospitals that are old trailers. They are going to modern infrastructure. They are driving on public transportation that is built by British Columbians. I could go on and on about the infrastructure that we've built on this side of the House, and we want to do more. In fact, we have announced through Budget 2025, Mr. Speaker, which aligns with Bill 15, the largest expansion of investment in infrastructure in British Columbia's history. $60 billion over 3 years. That is incredible, but also terrifying because we have to train the people and we have to take these projects and those dollar figures and stop talking about them from concept and get shovels in the ground. But that doesn't mean, Mr. Speaker, that we don't meaningfully engage with Indigenous peoples. It doesn't mean that we don't engage on the ground on environmental concerns. I was at a project in View Roll. I had an opportunity with the member from Nanaimo Lansville to be able to help open up a really major infrastructure project in not necessarily in my community, literally down the road from my community, but that helps support this region, the Capital Regional District, in particular the West Shore where I come from. And that was a new handy dart facility. There was a lot of controversy over this handy dart facility from specifically community members. And here was an opportunity where you had a project that was being talked about in the Ministry of Transportation for some time, and BC Transit for some time, and it was this government that helped get it done. And it was this government that helped fund it, but it was the people on the ground. It was the representatives from the Ministry of Transportation and Transit. It was the individuals from BC Transit, the planners, and it was the community residents that came together, talked about the challenges, and were able to build nearly $100 million building to help expand handy dart facilities for our seniors, with people with disabilities, and provide that much needed support, and take a project that was off on the sidelines, a project that was struggling to get by, and get community support. That doesn't stop with Bill 15. Community input is so important. We all have public inboxes. People provide us their perspectives every single day. We may agree with it, we may disagree with it, but it's our job to listen. And that doesn't stop with Bill 15. It didn't stop with Bill 14. This is about Donald Trump threatening our sovereignty and us taking an opportunity to build the infrastructure our province needs and our country needs as well. I was reading the Globe and Mail this morning, Mr. Speaker. I don't tend to read the Globe and Mail every single day. I tend to read the Times Colonist because that's my local paper. But it was flagged for me that there was an editorial by the Globe and Mail. The title was BC's Blueprint for BC's Blueprint for a Fast Track for Big Projects. And I'm just going to quote one line. British Columbia, and I quote, British Columbia has found a way forward, offering a blueprint that should be embraced by Ottawa. I encourage all of my colleagues to pull out their phones, Google BC's Blueprint for a Fast Track for Big Projects. That was from the Globe and Mail editorial board. They are seeing what we are doing here in British Columbia. We are leading the way. We're leading the way on infrastructure. We're leading the way with my colleague on mining, ensuring that we can become a mining superpower, not just in Canada, but the world. Thank you to the minister. But we're not going to stop there. Here is an opportunity for us to take it to the next level. We have an opportunity to help build British Columbia and ensure that we are providing people the services they need, the infrastructure they need. I saw that firsthand in my time as a school trustee, when you had a government that cut, a government that wouldn't provide support, a government that wouldn't help move projects forward. Here we have a government that is putting money on the table. Here we have a government that is making record investments, billions of dollars investments. And here we have a government that is asking for the support of the Legislative Assembly to take it one step further. And that is to get projects in the ground, to employ good working British Columbians who want to help build schools, who want to help build hospitals, who want to help build playgrounds, all types of infrastructure that benefit their communities. This is what Bill 15 does. We have seen the opposition during their debate on Bill 14, and we have seen it so far in Bill 15 attack our Premier and attack the work that he has been doing. The Premier of the province of British Columbia has been a leader not just here in British Columbia, but a leader in Canada. When I go home to Langford Highlands and I go to my local coffee shop, the number of people that come up to me, Mr. Speaker, and say, the Premier is incredible. The Premier is leading the way. I have people telling me in Langford Highlands that they've got cousins, aunts and uncles, mums and dads in other provinces saying, gosh, I wish your Premier was our Premier. I wish British Columbia's Premier was our Premier. These are people in Ontario and Quebec and other places. We are lucky to have his leadership. And the reason I raise that in particular is the former MLA for Langford Highlands was the Premier. And so he set a really high bar. And I always wondered if anyone could meet that bar. The Premier is working his butt off every day to meet that bar, and I'm hearing it on the ground. He is putting the work in. He is getting projects approved, like a new university in Langford, like new schools, like healthcare infrastructure, and it's just the start. We have an opportunity in the times that we live in to take real action. I talked about this in my remarks in Bill 14. We have an opposition that doesn't have a vision. We have an opposition that is taking every opportunity to say no to everything. This is a real change from what I thought may have been conservative ideals and values. I thought conservatives wanted to build. I thought conservatives wanted to build infrastructure. I thought conservatives wanted to put people to work. Clearly that's changed, and that's okay, because we're on this side and they're not. On this side of the House, we are going to take every opportunity in our time in government to build the infrastructure, to put people to work, to ensure that we can have quality schools, that we can have hospital infrastructure, that we can have public transportation on high-quality infrastructure. That is the work that we are doing on this side of the House, because that is the work that British Columbians have sent us to do. That is important work, and that is important work that all of us hold a piece to, whether we sit on this side of the House or sit on that side of the House. We all get emails, We all get letters. We all get the occasional person stopping by our community office providing their perspective. I hear about it all the time in my constituency office. I welcome it from the people of Langford Highlands, different perspectives. Through this legislation, through the leadership of the Minister of Infrastructure, through the leadership of our Premier, we are going to pass this legislation. We are going to get projects built faster. That is what we're trying to do with this legislation. I would welcome the Conservatives, I would welcome my friends from the Green Party to join us. Do they want to be the party of getting projects built, or will they continue to show us in this House, continue to show British Columbians that Conservatives and other members have simply become the party and the MLAs that deliver nothing, the parties and the MLAs that are not willing to put the work in to build the infrastructure our province needs, and clearly have become the party, in this case of the opposition, the party of no. We are going to take every opportunity on this side of the House to build BC. That's why we've been sent here. That's why we're going to continue this important work. I'm so proud, Mr. Speaker, to be able to provide my support for Bill 15.